Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anushka Jaktiani, your host for today, a proud member of the club. A warm welcome to our distinguished guests, esteemed members, and dignitaries present here. For many of us, the Bombay Gymkhana is a second home, actually a first home and only home for a lot of us here. Sometimes we fail to realize what an iconic place this is. Established in 1875, it has long been a cornerstone of sports, culture, and community. And today we add another proud milestone to our legacy, the release of a commemorative postage stamp by the Department of Post celebrating 150 glorious years of this institution. In this digital age, it's quite an honor to have a stamp. That means Bombay Gym members will be mandatory for you to write physical letters and use emails a little less. So it's my privilege to introduce the dignitaries on stage. We have with us, of course, the President, Mr. Sanjeev Saran Mehra. We have Honorable Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Union Minister of Communications and Development of Northeastern Region for the Government of India. We have Honorable Shri Milind Deora, who is also a member of the club and Member of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, and Ms. Suchita Joshi, Postmaster General, Navi Mumbai Region. Thank you for being here with us. Okay, I'd like to now invite the President, Mr. Sanjeev Saran, I'd like to call upon the President to welcome the Honorable Minister. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sanjeev Saran. I'd like to invite our Vice President, Mr. Dinesh Advani, to welcome Honorable Shri Milind Deora. Dinesh Advani, yes. Thank you, Mr. Advani. I would now like to invite our Honorable Treasurer, Mr. Dhanraj Bhagat, to welcome Ms. Suchita Joshi. Thank you, Madam, and thank you, Treasurer. I'd like to now call upon the President to give the welcome address.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is indeed a momentous occasion in the illustrious history of Bombay Gymkhana, as we are gathered here to witness the release of the 150th anniversary commemorative postage stamp of our esteemed institution. We extend a warm welcome to all the dignitaries on the dais. On behalf of the Bombay Gymkhana family, it is my great honor and privilege to welcome Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Honorable Minister of Communications and Minister of Development of the Northeastern Region, Government of India. So, we are deeply grateful to you for honoring Bombay Gymkhana by approving the release of this commemorative stamp, which celebrates our rich sporting legacy and storied history. This is a cherished moment, one that generations of our members will look back upon with great pride. We are also privileged to have with us Sri Milind Deora, Honorable Minister of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, who has contributed immensely to the development of South Mumbai over the years. Milind is a dear friend and of course a club member, and I'd like to acknowledge his crucial support in facilitating the proposal for the release of this stamp. Several months ago during a lunch conversation, I shared with him our desire to have a commemorative stamp issued, and he readily and enthusiastically agreed to assist. We are grateful for his unwavering encouragement. We also extend a warm welcome to Mrs. Suchita Joshi, Postmaster General, Navi Mumbai Region. Bombay Gymkhana, founded in 1875, proudly stands as one of India's oldest and most vibrant multi-sport clubs. We have long been a powerhouse of sport, fostering a tradition that spans nearly a century and a half. The first test match played in India in 1933 was hosted right here on our grounds. Over the decades, Bombay Gymkhana has also been the venue for the first ever Mumbai events in several sporting disciplines, including athletics in 1888, rugby, polo, and hockey, among others. In addition to conducting our own sporting initiatives, we have consistently supported and hosted events organized by various sporting bodies, educational institutions, and NGOs, reinforcing our commitment to nurturing sport across all levels of society. Thank you.
Okay, we're very privileged to have two dynamic young leaders with us on stage, and I'd like to first invite one of them, Shri Milind Deora, Member of Parliament Rajya Sabha and Member of Bombay Gym, to address the audience.
Very good afternoon to everyone. My very dear friend, Jyotiraditya Scindia ji, President of Bombay Gymkhana, Sanjeev Saran, the Postmaster General of the Navi Mumbai region, Mrs. Joshi, Vinod Advani, Vice President, my dear friend Anushka Jaktiani, my mother, several other fellow members and friends. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate each and every one of you for this very, very prestigious honor of a commemorative postal stamp being released to mark Bombay Gym's 150th year. Heartiest congratulations to each and every one of you. I would also, on all your behalf, like to welcome my very dear friend, Jyotiraditya Scindia, to Mumbai and to Bombay Gym today. We just trying to determine whether or not he's a member of the club, and we found out that he is a member of the club. So hopefully we'll have him come and visit us more often. But I must say that the minute I took this proposal of a commemorative postal stamp to Jyotiraditya ji, he instantly said, Milind, consider it done. So I'm extremely grateful to him for very speedily actioning and implementing this proposal. I would also like to put on record that both he and I had the privilege of serving in the same ministry that he is now a cabinet minister in, as MOSs, and the vision that he has and the vision that he's implementing to turn around our telecom sector, our postal department, is very, very commendable. I'm sure he's going to tell you about that in his speech. So Jyotiraditya, thank you so much for being here. Once again, thank you so much for your support to the club. When a stamp like this is released, I've had the privilege, as I mentioned, as an MOS in this department to release several stamps. Really, the credit goes to the institution. So the patronage of each and every one of you as members deserves full credit. It's thanks to your active usage, it's thanks to your patronage that we've been honored with this stamp today. I would like to tell you a bit of my background. I don't use the club as often as I should, I accept that. But I studied right across the street from here. I was a student at Cathedral and John Connon School. And junior school, middle school, senior school are literally right across the corner. And my mother, who's sitting here, I was a very big kid growing up. And I was a huge foodie. And my mother thought making me a member here would mean I'll take part in sports. But the only sport I would take part in is I was cross the road, enter from the back entrance, and Sanjeev, there used to be a man who would man the ice cream counter called Joe. I hope he's still alive and healthy and well. And for me, I would bypass all the sports and go directly to Joe to eat ice cream. So that was my fond memory of the club growing up. I did have the chance to also play badminton here, to play tennis, to play squash. I remember the markers at the squash court, More and Gopi, for those who played squash and are a little older. Each of them are institutions. And today when the minister and I walked into the club and we met all the staff, right from the watchman who receives you to the receptionist, to everyone who's assisting in different departments. I would like to firstly congratulate each and every one of them. This stamp and this honor truly belongs to each of them. They are the ones who make this club run. They are the ones who keep it going. And, you know, clubs like Bombay Gym, beyond the food, beyond the ice cream, beyond the sports, beyond bar night, which is also an institution for many of us, what makes these clubs stand out is really the relationships that you have with each other. It's the fraternity of members. So it's the community that has made today Bombay Gym not just an institution in our city, but as someone who's been to these gymkhanas, not just in India, but around the world. I've been to a gymkhana in Singapore and many other parts of the world. Sanjeev, I can very confidently say that Bombay Gymkhana is really one of the best gymkhanas in the world. And that's something that each of you should take pride in as members. Each of the staff who make this club run should take pride in. I'm also grateful to Sanjeev, who agreed to support my mother's efforts to institute a bridge tournament, an annual bridge tournament named after my late father, Deora, who would use this club as a member, and we have the tournament on Jan 17th this year. He was very, very fond of bridge, so I'm glad that besides being a member, besides having helped with this stamp, that we've now instituted in some ways something in his memory as partnership with this club. So once again, I want to congratulate each and every one of you. We're there to help you, assist you, to ensure that this club continues to retain its position as one of the foremost gymkhanas, not just in Mumbai, not just in India, but across the world. You can rest assured you have my full support as your representative. And last but not least, to get this stamp done, I'm merely a representative. That's the job of a member of parliament. But the person who really followed up with me to make sure that Mr. Scindia issues it as quickly as possible, and on each of your behalf, I'd like to thank is Sanjeev Saran. He's doing a fantastic job, not just with this stamp release, but as the president of this club. So with these words, once again, thank you very much. Congratulations to each and every one of you. And I'm sure the next 150 years of Bombay Gymkhana will be as glorious as the last 150 years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Milind, for that wonderful address. Never too late to start playing a sport here at the club. I would now like to request the Honorable Union Minister, Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, to please release the postage stamp commemorating 150 years of the glorious Bombay Gymkhana. And I'd like the other dignitaries to please join in. We honor This stamp stands as a testament not just to buildings and grounds, but to the generations of members who have shaped this club, preserved its ethos, and contributed to its legacy. And now we'd like to invite the Honorable Union Minister to please address us. And as we've just learned, he's also a member of the club.
Seated on the dais with me, my good friend and a family with which my family has shared a two-generational relationship. Member of Parliament, Milind Deora ji, Suchita Joshi ji, Postmaster General, Navi Mumbai, President of Bombay Gymkhana in this golden era of this institution, Sanjeev Saran, Anushka Jagtiani ji, again, someone with whom had a very, very old relationship spanning, well, 3 generations. And many of you in the audience here who have been members through multiple generations of this wonderful institution. Every single member of the Bombay Gymkhana family that generally stands behind the back rows, but have always been at the forefront of service and holding the flag of this institution high. I salute all of them who I met as soon as I entered this hall. And we need to have a much richer round of applause for them, please. So when Milind Deora came and met with me and apprised me of the hallmark of this institution, the fact that it's in its 150th year, and requested me for the issuance of a commemorative postage stamp, I readily acquiesced, not only because this is a sporting institution and a sporting club, but the history and legacy of this club is so richly entwined with not only the history of Mumbai, not only the history of Maharashtra, but if I may say so, the history of India, of Bharat Mata. There are very few places in India where both sport and history, two areas very close to my heart, sit so gracefully together. And the Bombay Gymkhana, through its 150-year-old history, has been a mirror, has been a stage, has been a witness to that timeless grace. It is an institution which has seen generations pass through it. It is an institution which has seen fashions change. It is an institution that has seen cityscapes rise. And it is an institution that has converted the cricket bat into a symbol of national pride. Now, a stamp is a very small token, but a very, very powerful emissary of history, of vision, of values, of purpose. And that role of this stamp will talk about the generations that have trained on this ground. Generations in multiple sports that have tasted triumph. And also generations that have come back after defeat into the comforting hands of the environment that has nurtured them. And therefore today for me, the Bombay Gymkhana and the stamp release here is a rare privilege for me for an institution that has kept pace and has shaped the history of Mumbai's cityscape. Being a Mumbaikar myself, having spent over 18 years of my life here, Milind talked about his experience at that not-so-great school across the border. I happened to go to the great school across the other border, which was Campion. And unlike Milind, who came here duping his mother to taste ice cream, I actually would come here to play sports. But as Sandeep said, the Bombay Gymkhana was established in 1875. In a city that would always set the trend for our country. A city that would empower and a city that would uphold the concept of diversity in our country. And so therefore you had wooden galleries, sweeping lawns, Burma teak beams, a setting that is at the same time formal, like we see in these wonderful sports blazers. And I think we should make that a practice more regularly. And at the same time, very welcoming. It's an institution that has found itself at the center of the transformation of India's sporting movement. Hosting the first rugby tournament in the 19th century, to the first home test match in 1933. And when I talk about cricket, because having been a cricketer myself and a passionate cricket administrator as well, I cannot but mention my great cricketing legend, but my great from Madhya Pradesh, Colonel C.K. Naidu, who hammered his 153 on this ground itself. And Colonel C.K. Naidu's hammering of 153 on this ground was not merely a cricketing feat in those days. It destroyed the assumptions that many people had about the prowess, capability, and potential of sports within Indian sportsmen and sportswomen. Those days you didn't have such tall skyscrapers, but yet the buildings surrounding the Bombay Gymkhana, ardent cricket fans would peer from rooftops to watch every shot, every stroke of Colonel C.K. Naidu on this ground. And then came the main event in 1933, when this ground hosted the first test match as a home circuit in India. And you could see then, the annals of history have recorded, black and white films have recorded, not only the exhibition of sportsmanship on this ground, but the confidence of a young India. A young India that was ready to emerge as an independent country. A young India that would, in the next 75 years, become the third largest economy and the greatest sporting nation on this world in the cricket field. And that heralding took place nowhere else but on the grounds of the Bombay Gymkhana, which I inspected today. I've told Sanjeev that we need to roll the turf wickets a little bit. Our 4 pitches are a little out of shape. There has been a tremendous testament and contribution towards the sporting history on this ground. Whether it's cricket, whether it's rugby, the introduction of rugby in India took place in the Bombay Gymkhana. And therefore, over time, you've opened your doors to multiple sports, multiple communities, bridging people. Milind talked about the concept of fraternity, the concept of camaraderie. And that is what emanates from a sporting ground. That is what emanates from environments like this, which allow relationships to flower. And there are multi-generational relationships that have flowed from the lawns of the Bombay Gymkhana. And so today, when we release a stamp in black and gold colors of the 150th year of the Bombay Gymkhana, where on the one hand, black is the ink of memory. On the other hand, gold is the light of achievement. And that is the history of this institution. Today, our postal department, which has a longer history than the Bombay Gymkhana, from the days of the runners to the pigeons, to the Scindia State dark stamps of 1852, to the first airmail in 1911. India Post has been about connecting people. Very much like the Bombay Gymkhana, India Post has been about conveying emotions. And that India Post today, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, is undergoing a metamorphical transformation. A transformation into a logistics organization of the 22nd century. We are now bringing in technology. We are bringing in digitization. No institution in the world has the breadth, depth, and delivery mechanism that the India Post has. 1,64,000 points of presence across the length and breadth of India. And today, as e-commerce rises, direct-to-customer experiences rise, I would like to use this forum to also inform people that a huge transformation is underway at India Post. Through our postal logistics infrastructure project, we are going to bring in automated delivery centers, automated bookings, digitization, tracking of every single parcel for customer, 24 to 48-hour delivery systems. And it is our objective that India Post must become the largest logistics organization in the world over the next 5 years. And therefore today, on this twin journey, the journey of India Post, the journey of the Bombay Gymkhana, as we release this stamp, we commemorate heritage, we commemorate the past, celebrate the past, and also envision the future. Institutions such as these are not easy to come by in any nation's history. There are very few institutions in the world that can boast to have crossed the 150th year mark. And what does that mean, Sanjeev? There are many that have walked before you, that have contributed, that have laid the bricks on this ground so that we may have this environment on this day. And that rich history of the Bombay Gymkhana tells us that the values that the Gymkhana holds closest to its heart, values that it regards as its compass, values of stewardship, the ability to nurture, sporting excellence, caring, friendship, relationship building, speaks to me not as values of the Bombay Gymkhana alone, but speaks to me like a civic charter. And it is that civic charter that tells us that these values that have been passed down multiple generations must be passed on. This heritage must be purposeful. And most importantly, it asks us to open our doors, but to keep our core intact. And that is the task before this management committee and its leadership in its 150th year. On your 150th year, let me congratulate you all. And as I congratulate you and release the stamp today, may this little ticket in every single individual's palm act as a messenger as it travels on envelope to envelope, hand to hand. And may it encourage every young boy and girl to pick up a bat. May it encourage them to run a lap. May it encourage them to pass a ball. And most importantly, may it make them believe that institutions can change life for the better. This last century and a half has been historical. This last century and a half has been legendary. May the next century and a half be as luminous as the last one. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that very inspiring speech. And we, of course, appreciate all your initiatives in expanding connectivity to all parts of India, even to remote parts of India. It's great to know that you identify as a Mumbaikar and have actually played sports in this club. Before we carry on, we have a recorded message from the Deputy Chief Minister, Shri Eknath Shinde. He was not able to be here with us, but he has sent a message for the Bombay Gymkhana.
नमस्कार. बॉम्बे जिमखाना को 150 गौरवशाली वर्ष पूरे करने पर मैं तहे दिल से बधाई देता हूं. यह वास्तव में एक ऐतिहासिक उपलब्धि है और हमें गर्व है कि मुंबई के पास इतनी समृद्ध और प्रतिष्ठित विरासत वाली एक खेल संस्था है. मैं माननीय केंद्रीय संचार मंत्री श्री ज्योतिरादित्य सिंधिया जी को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं. उनका आभार प्रकट करता हूं कि उन्होंने बॉम्बे जिमखाना के लिए स्मारक डाक टिकट जारी कर इस समारोह को सम्मानित किया है। साथ ही मैं राज्यसभा सांसद श्री मिलिंद देवरा जी को भी धन्यवाद देता हूं, जिनके प्रयासों से यह डाक टिकट जारी हो सका। महाराष्ट्र सरकार बॉम्बे जिमखाना को सभी पहलों और प्रयासों में निरंतर सहयोग करती रहेगी। मैं बॉम्बे जिमखाना के अध्यक्ष श्री संजीव शरण मेहरा जी को भी बधाई देता हूं, जिनके उत्कृष्ट नेतृत्व में बॉम्बे जिमखाना न केवल मुंबई बल्कि पूरे भारत की अग्रणी खेल संस्थाओं में अपनी पहचान बनाए हुए है। फिर एक बार बॉम्बे जिमखाना को 150 वर्ष सालगिरह पर शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र।
I'd now like to request President Sanjeev Saran to present the commemorative plaque to the Honorable Minister. Requesting the President to present the commemorative plaque to Shri Milind Deora. I'd like to request the President to present the special 150 souvenir to Ms. Suchita Joshi, Postmaster General. Thank you. Okay, I would now like to request the Vice President, Mr. Dinesh C. Advani, to give the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. Honorable Minister, Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Minister of Communications and Minister of Development of the Northeastern Region, Government of India. Honorable Member of Parliament, Shri Milind Deora, Rajya Sabha, Ms. Sucheta Doshi, distinguished officers of the Department of Posts, members of the Bombay Gymkhana, special invitees and colleagues. On behalf of the Bombay Gymkhana, it is my honor to convey our deepest thanks to the release of the Bombay Gymkhana 150th Anniversary Commemorative Postage Stamp. Marks a proud and historic milestone in our journey. It commemorates 150 years of contribution to sport, society, and public life. And through this stamp, the legacy of Bombay Gymkhana will now travel across the nation, a dignified national recognition of an institution that has stood the test of time. We are grateful to you, Honorable Minister Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, for your presence today, and for the support of the Ministry and the Department of Posts in commemorating this landmark occasion. Honorable Member of Parliament, Shri Milind Deora, who took a personal and proactive interest in this initiative, played a key role in facilitating the process and in ensuring that this long-cherished idea was brought to fruition. Ms. Sucheta Doshi, thank you for being with us today and for gracing this important occasion. I would also like to acknowledge our own Bombay Gymkhana family, the managing committee, and in particular our president, whose vision first gave shape to this idea and who pursued it with unwavering commitment. Our CEO, the administration, and our dedicated staff, whose meticulous effort and quiet diligence ensure that today reflects the dignity, heritage, and the values of this institution. To our members and invited guests, thank you for joining us and for your continued support of the Bombay Gymkhana. Before we conclude, may I inform you that the sale of the first day covers and the commemorative stamps will take place in the veranda. May I now request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem. Thank you.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे